Hey everybody, welcome back to the Film Tangents podcast. Happy Easter. Hope everybody had a lovely Easter Sunday, Easter Monday, Easter Tuesday, etc.
Easter here, dude.
Yeah. What'd you guys do? Did you go on an egg hunt? Did you color some eggs? Did you go to church? I myself didn't like Easter much as a kid. And I'll tell you why, Edward, because you didn't get, there's no, first of all, the build-up season is nothing. There's no, Easter music or Easter events. There's maybe an Easter movie here and there, whether it's an old biblical epic or some weird animated movie about rabbits. Mm-hmm. And then on Easter Sunday, you get up and you got to go to church. And then you got to come home and you eat ham. And then you got school the next day. So I never cared too much for Easter. I'm a Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas guy. I've talked about how wonderful those holidays are. Easter's all right. It's grown on me a little bit over the year. I embrace it for what it is. Springtime. It's whatever. That said... subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell notification.
Subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, subscribe.
Yeah, people are having a tough time out here, man. I saw that guy, the Evil or the Vile Eye or something. He made a YouTube's terrible video, and Rob Ager made a YouTube's terrible video.
Love both of those guys.
Everybody's been making any and everybody that we're subscribed to has been making videos of just basically YouTube's terrible and views are declining and please support me on Patreon. Everybody's making those videos because the platform is just moving towards short form, shorts and stuff. So people are struggling. Yeah. But that being said, subscribe. If you enjoy this podcast, hit that bell so you can get notified when we post something.
Listen, you explain to me how a show like Film Tangents, it has barely any subscribers, and meanwhile, a channel like The Critical Drinker has millions and millions of views when a fantastic YouTube channel like Film Tangents is down in the dumps. You explain that to me. You can call it a coincidence. I call it something that's tied into something sinister with the FBI and the CIA. That's my Jesse Ventura for anyone who. How's my Jesse Ventura, Edward?
I don't know who that is. Who is that?
Jesse Ventura, the WWE. He was a wrestler, and then he's the guy in Predator who goes I ain't got time to bleed.
Yeah, let me look him up because sometimes I know these guys and then I forget them. Jesse Ventura. Let's see. Oh, I see who it is. I'm not very familiar though. I think I've seen little clips, but I don't have them. I can't rate your impression. Let's say no knowledge out of 10 on my on your impression. Do a Macho Man Randy Savage next time.
Yeah, shit. I have to. Oh yeah, his is more he's Spider-Man. You're going nowhere. Yeah, that guy. Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good little one.
That was just off the dome. Man. Yeah. You're going nowhere. What else does he say in that friggin' movie? What does he say?
I don't remember what he says there, but I have Randy Savage in here, so I can give you a good, I can give you a good rating on him.
Yeah. How was that for off the top?
That was good. That was a good 7, Macho Man impression off the top, off the dome, dude.
I'll take that. Yeah, I saw. I've been working on the Jesse Ventura impression for months now, just every once in a while, and I think the other day I'm scrolling on YouTube and I see a thumbnail of him Jesse Ventura destroys Piers Morgan and he looks unrecognizable. I was what the fuck? He's got a big white bushy beard now. I was Jesus. 10 or 14 years later, he's allegedly destroying Piers Morgan again. It's like,
Yeah.
damn, dude, how many times are we gonna do this? But anyway, it's the Easter Beagle, Charlie Brown.
Hmm.
That was the special for this week. I'll give a quick little prologue to this review. I love Charlie Brown, grew up on it. It like a lot of like a lot of us in America, I think it and around the world, I think it's it was a staple of our childhoods. It's iconic. I mean, Snoopy is almost as iconic as Mickey Mouse, I would say. You know, you see peanut stuff everywhere, especially around the holidays. Um, as far as like the holiday specials go, I think that Christmas one is spectacular. I think
Yeah.
the Thanksgiving one's good, but I think the Halloween one, it's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. That one, I think that remains the greatest peanut special of all time.
It's funny because that's
Nothing.
like the one that I have yet to see.
Oh man, yeah. Next,
Because I've seen the Christmas one and the Thanksgiving. Sorry about that, everybody. I've seen the Christmas one and the Thanksgiving one, and now this one, the Easter one, but I've not seen the Halloween one.
oh yeah, you gotta watch the Halloween one. Definitely don't let another Halloween season pass without watching that, man. Because that nothing captures that season better, I don't think, than uh than that special. I mean, it's from everything, the soundtrack, the art style, the just the feel, the backgrounds, the fall backgrounds, and it's words can't describe how much I love that Charlie Brown Halloween special. I just throw it on every year around
Yeah.
Halloween time. Um, especially if me and my girl are carving pumpkins or something, got to throw that on.
Yeah, the background.
Yeah.
On loop.
Oh,
5 minutes.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so this was my first time seeing the Easter one. I'd never seen that. We never watched. We didn't really growing up. We didn't watch much Easter stuff.
Mhm.
Honestly, which tells me that Easter didn't wasn't a big thing for my parents either. I mean, we always have like a family brunch on Easter, but uh, yeah, like you know, here and there on Easter we'd watch like like a biblical epic or something. But
Mm.
yeah, we never watched this one. I figured it made the most sense to go about it this way, man. I felt it would be good to go through like all the aspects of the production of this special, just because it's so short and it's
Yeah.
it's sparse. It's just a Charlie Brown thing. Um, so starting off with the art style and the animation. What you got on that, man? How'd you like that?
It's interesting because I love like the simplicity of
Yeah.
this style, right? This like 1970s like animation.
Hmm.
I do. I love the simplicity. I love like kind of like this almost like pastel-y colors that they have. I love like the simplicity of the backgrounds. It makes it it makes it so that you can almost have any still frame of this movie into like a wallpaper or into like some kind of like printout that you then can put like on a frame. Like it's just very like picturesque
Yes.
and very just like whimsy, like very whimsical, you know. I love the character lines. I love how they animate these guys. Love that old animation that you can just tell they did, you know, you can just tell it's hand animated,
Hmm.
like all these frames, because the lines just kind of like, you know, the lines around the characters' bodies are so like alive and they just kind of wiggle a lot. And these characters are just so charming, you know, the whole thing is just charming, like very lovely, you know. I also love like the voice acting. I don't know what are these kids doing these voices? Like
Yes.
what is this?
And that was a
Yeah.
big thing at the time. Charles Schultz, because the first ever animated Peanuts thing that they did was the Christmas special, and it was revolutionary at the time for that. Charles Schultz insisted that we need actual kids to play them, because
Yeah,
at
it's
the
just
time
kids.
it was just adults squeezing their voices, doing like
Right,
goofy
into
cartoon
kitty
voices.
voices.
And he
Yeah.
was like, no, we need kids. Fun fact that I learned recently: Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas played Sally when she was a kid in one of the
Really?
80s specials, I think. Not this
Yeah.
one, but she played Charlie Brown's sister in one of the specials. But yes, so that is a great point. That was something that Charles Schultz fought for.
But yeah, no, I love that. I love like those little kid voices because I'm watching this, and there is like a big there has been like a big like in between from when I've seen these movies because I think I saw the Christmas one for the first time like with you at your house.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing's true of the Thanksgiving one. I've seen these movies because you've made me. But they're lovely. I'm not like trying to say that anything like negative or anything like that. But you've been the one who put them in front of my eyes, and I think I might have had this exact same thought or impression every single time I've seen them, which is just like how adorable like the little character voices are. Because I'm sure you've told me that before. Because there's something here that is like, oh yeah, those are kids doing the voices. And I imagined as such, like watching it, I was like, these voices just sound like little kids, like
Yeah, yeah.
saying these lines, which just adds like a level of charm to
And they're
this whole
so
thing,
yeah, they're so good too. Like their line
Yeah,
delivery in some of these specials.
yeah,
Like they especially in the Christmas and Halloween ones, there's classic quotable lines that,
mm,
people quote still to this day,
yeah,
that these kids did such a great job of delivering, you know.
yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm with you on the backgrounds. When I was a kid, I went through a phase where I was obsessed with like cartoons and animation, and I think me and you had similar phases like that. And
yeah.
at one point, it was like middle school. I was like dead set on being like the next Seth MacFarlane. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
like
it's funny, dude, because you and I had like similar experiences, but just like
yeah,
um in different animation, like I guess like outlets. Because for me it was like anime
right,
and manga,
exactly,
and for you it was like American animation and cartoon.
exactly.
Very fascinating.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And it was yeah, it was I was obsessed, and there was during that obsession there was a point of that obsession where I had a smaller obsession with like the backgrounds in Peanuts cartoons where I was like I loved I literally said the same thing you just said where I was like I love the
Yeah,
simplicity of them. I love how it's just this horizon line and you get some like
yeah,
bushes and stuff. It just feels very sandboxy, like
mm,
and just not not more than it needs to be, and very much like you kind of want it creates this horizon effect where it's like you want to explore more of the world because so much of it is
yeah,
hidden from you, you know. I always felt that way about like a lot of Dr. Seuss stuff too, you'd get in Dr. Seuss like these wide shots and you'd see these like he did a lot of that like rolling hills in his backgrounds
hmm
where you have rolling
hmm
hills and then like sometimes brick roads going over the rolling hills, and I always loved that.
yes,
Like I just wanted to go see what was beyond it,
yeah.
um
It's charming, man, and it's simple, and it just like brings you. There's just something like really like wonderful about like 2D animation
yeah.
that I feel like that I feel like through the American medium of animation has been left unexplored, s- you know, since the beginning with like 3D.
Yeah.
It seems Pixar and Disney just moved to 3D, and then everything they make, Zootopia or Moana or anything, is always like 3D animated. It just makes you like it's just like, but what has been lost?
I know,
Like
man.
there is such like, and it's true. That's true too about video games. When Mario became 3D with Mario 64 on the Nintendo 64, and and then since then everything's just fucking 3D. Even with video games, but you have this thing with the 2D medium that is just like this beauty in the simplicity of it all, and
Hmm.
how they're able to create dimensions and two dimensions, and it's really wonderful.
Yeah.
And with these Charlie Brown movies, it's just like almost like the apex of how simple you can get with these things, and still convey like so much like emotion and so much like wonder into like a world with these little kids. It's just like, again, I think the best word that I can use for this is just charming. It just charms you. This are it's very charming, like little
Hmm.
movies.
Yeah, I couldn't have
So
said it.
good movies.
I couldn't have said it better, man. I mean, yeah, it's like I know, man. It's like it's hard not to look on back on stuff like that with rose-colored glasses. I mean, because nowadays, like, yeah, it's just like not everything is truly, not every advancement is truly an advance, a real advancement. You know, it's even the modern Peanuts stuff. Like
Yeah,
I just see the commercials for it, like the Apple TV ads and
yeah,
stuff, and I'm like, it just looks too clean, man. I'm sure they're probably well written and decently
sure.
voice acted and directed, but it just looks too clean, too
This,
polished, man. I like
that's the
when it
interesting
looked
thing,
like
man.
these old ones looked like you actually peeled it off of the comic book strip out of the Sunday funnies and started making it
Yeah,
move, and
yeah.
yeah.
That's the interesting thing, man. That I've had this thought, in my head for like a few months. But with this stuff, it's like like it's like I can't even call it like an advancement. It's like it's just different, right?
Yeah.
Like to me, like I feel like from 2D to 3D animation, it's like, oh, this is just different,
Yeah.
This this is different, but it doesn't even feel like it necessarily like I don't know. Like I feel like if you can make like a push forward, like like if somebody can make like a movie or something and you could watch it. For instance, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, those movies. And those are movies that the conversation around those movies has been these movies have been pushing or they have pushed the medium of 2D animation, with how transgressive like the animation is and like how much they're doing. And I feel like those are the kind of conversations you can have within a medium, right? Like we're pushing this medium forward. Because I feel like 3D just kind of like went it's like a new lane, It's
Hmm.
like it's like this is a new animation lane that just slowed down the progress of 2D.
That is
God,
so true.
you know?
Yeah. It
That's
was
how I
it
feel about it.
Yeah, it's like it at first it was replacing it, and what we should
Yeah.
have been doing all along was continuing to advance both.
Right.
Yeah, because it's like it's not really a replacement, like you said.
No, it's not
It's just
replacing it
another
because it's
it's
like you
another form of it.
exactly because it's just a whole different experience. Like watching a 2D animated thing and the 3D animated thing, it's a whole different experience. So you're not really
For sure.
replacing them. And I've had this thought even within the context of 3D animation because then you can think about 3D animation as something that is advanced, right? Like you can think about like the first Shrek movie, and then you can think about like whichever latest Pixar or Disney movie has come out, right? And I remember like back when Tangled came out, and there was like a big conversation around Tangled regarding like how they had, digitally created like a million like strands of hair
Oh yeah.
for the Rapunzel character. And that was like a big conversation then. It's like, oh, look how far we've come. That was like again like 2013, 2014, whenever the movie came out. And now it's 2026. And I've not been following animation like that like lately. Like I cannot recall what the last animated movie I saw was. The only thing that I can remember watching was like a stop motion movie, which again that's like a whole different lane of itself in animation.
Mhm.
Which was when I watched like I think like the Pinocchio del Toro stop motion movie. I think that was like the last animated thing I saw. So it's like I haven't seen a lot of these like latest Pixar movies.
Was that stop
Trying to
motion? The
see
Pinocchio thing?
yeah, yeah,
It
it was stop
was?
motion.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was like mixed, I think. I think it was a mixture of both 3D and stop motion animation.
Okay.
Or like claymation. I don't remember which one it was. It might have been claymation. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Um,
Claymation's like
but
a form of stop motion, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but I don't remember. I know that it was in the stop motion realm. It wasn't like an animated film. There was like a motion element to it. Regardless, like I haven't seen any of those like latest Pixar or Disney movies, and I'm sure that if I saw any one of them, I would be like wowed, because of how impressive the animation probably is.
Mhm.
But what I've been thinking about lately is how interesting like lower forms of animation are, and how animation sometimes I feel to me 3D animation, I feel like lives within a context of what the intention is, right? Because if you made, let's say, Shrek is Love, Shrek is Life, and it looked
Fuck
like
yeah.
as pitch perfect as I'm sure the latest like Zootopia movie looks, because that's the only movie I can recall that Disney has put out lately.
Yeah.
It would not be as good, you know. So it's like for Shrek is Love, Shrek is Life. I think that specific thing when it came out, like in 2015 or whatever, I think it was like dependent on the fact that it looked like it was made with the same tools that they made the first like Ants movie, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah, it was better. It looked because it just looked like a modded video game because it probably
Exactly.
was, I think,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
made it made it just more
Yeah.
uncanny, which is I think what the
Yes.
video is going for.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly. So that to me is
absolutely.
interesting, you know, because that to me is interesting because then it's like, oh, you can advance a medium as much as you want, but it's like, what, you know, is the message? You know, if you're using this medium, you know, the medium is the message. What are you using this medium for, and how are you going to bend it? You know, like, you know, I've been thinking about a lot of that, about that a lot recently.
Yeah, that's a great point because you think about because you think about like some of the great 3D animated movies and you think about them if they were 2D and it's all
Yeah,
wrong.
for
It feels
sure,
wrong.
for
Like I
sure,
think
for
about
sure.
Monsters Inc. as a 2D animated movie. I'm like that just doesn't feel right. It's like
Yeah,
this because that it just felt. I mean, you could do it as a 2D animated movie, but it's like it's like getting a homemade pie and then trying to go back to store bought. You're like, well, I've had the good stuff now, and that's kind of how it is. It's like, could you have done Monsters Inc. 2D? Sure, but now that we know it as 3D, it's hard to picture it as 2D because with the 3D animation, it lent itself really well to that story in terms of just the amount of details they could put in with the factory and everything.
yeah,
Same with something like The Incredibles. Yeah. So I totally hear what you're saying there. Yeah, and stop motion's great too, man. Like
it is
we
good.
had on I just had like, stuff playing on TV on during our Easter family get together just in the background. We just had music going and then I just had Easter stuff playing on the TV muted as like background visuals. And I had like the Rankin Bass Here Comes Peter Cottontail thing, stop motion thing that they did. And it was just so like it's so cool, and you look at that and it's a
Yeah,
50-minute thing and you're like the amount of detail in there, and I'm like, dude, this must have been a freaking nightmare to
yes,
animate this. I mean, how much freaking work was that, you know?
yeah.
Um But yeah, I agree. Like these are all none of them should be replacing another. These are all
No,
I think audiences have made it pretty clear that we're interested in seeing more of all of these forms of animation.
yeah, 100%, 100%. Especially with those Spider-Man movies because they were so successful too.
Yeah.
Like those were 2D animated movies and they were incredibly successful. And it's just worth revisiting these kind of things, you know, like the Easter Beagle Charlie Brown, like, little special. That little thing was wonderful, you know, like, just watching that stuff, you know, it's just wonderful, and it's just fascinating to me that somebody can approach a little piece of media with such, like, an interesting and unique intention, you know? Like, um I've never seen that thing. Do you know what that thing is? Like, "Will you be my neighbor?" Was that a thing?
Oh, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood?
Mr. Rogers. Yes.
Yeah, I watched
Like,
that when I was a kid.
I've never seen Mr. Rogers, but I watched like a video about it recently. I want to watch a documentary about it. I watched a video about it recently, and seemingly every single piece of information that I've ever learned for about like that Mr. Rogers guy communicates simply that all that he wanted to do with his life, like his life's purpose, was just like how can I like be as good as possible at being able to create content specifically for children, you know? And that to me is like wonderful because I watched this movie, this Easter Beagle movie, and I can see very clearly that that was the exact intention of that, you know? It's like how can I make the best piece of media, possible? It is also just something that is meant to influence and have like an impact on kids. How can I make that just good? That's really like an interesting thing.
Yeah, for sure. Like kids need that, man.
Yeah, they do, man. So
You
much
need
slop out there.
Yeah, you need good media for kids. Like I think media has a massive, massive effect on,
Mhm.
entire swaths of, you know, upcoming entire generations. So,
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
yeah, and it's well, Charlie Brown's great. The Peanuts are great in that aspect because you could see why kids latch onto it because it teaches good lessons, but it's not preachy, and it shows how kids really act in a lot of ways. It
Mhm.
shows like kids being mean and stuff. And
Yeah.
but it doesn't condone it, right? Like because you see everything kind of through Charlie Brown's eyes, and you can kids can empathize with his character, and ultimately there's a solid I think message at the end of all of
Yeah, for
these
sure.
specials, but they kept it tongue in cheek too. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and uh, o- I was also pretty impressed by the directing in this special. I love the shots of
Overall.
Snoopy going down the escalator and then everybody else going
Mhm.
up, and it was like,
Yeah, they were kind of trippy. Yeah, they were
yeah,
funny.
yeah, and I felt like I was watching The Graduate or something. It just felt
Mhm.
very, or like some some like 70s movie or something where
Sure.
uh it just felt that way. It felt very artful, those shots.
Yeah, for sure. I had the same thought. Like when that was happening, I was like, "Oh," I was like, "This is a surprise." I didn't expect this to get this kind of like you said, this kind of like very inspired, like out of left field, like shots. Like I didn't expect that, but that was
Yeah.
interesting, and it gives you a nice little jolt to see these like random transitions or like this random like little like just like crossing scenes like that. It kind of it kind of gives you a little boost again, like, oh, pay attention, there's interesting things here, it's not just kids yapping.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. And yeah, the directing it's always great in these specials. Like
Mhm.
the Thanksgiving special has laugh out loud moments that my sisters and I will still laugh at like around Thanksgiving time
Mhm.
whenever we put it on. And they're just little moments of like physical comedy, like maybe a
Yeah.
character's face will change in reaction to something and it's very subtle. And you're just like, we'll laugh our asses off at it because it's very, the direction was, I think, spot on in those things. And then also, like, like this shot we're talking about in the Easter special, it would sometimes produce beautiful shots and transitions. Like I can't. I always love both the Christmas special and the Halloween special. Just have these great moments, little moments of animation in them. Like the Halloween special has this whole sequence where Snoopy, he gets into character in his costume. He dresses up as a World War I fighter pilot, and then he's
Mhm.
pretending he gets shot down behind enemy lines. So like you're kind of seeing what he's imagining, and
Mhm.
and there's like these beautiful shots of him walking in the distance, like on a horizon, and in the behind him is like and he's just a silhouette, and then behind him is like this full orange harvest moon, and like
Mhm.
tree branches over it, and it's just like pure Halloween goodness.
Mhm.
And same with stuff in the Christmas special, like when Charlie Brown and Linus go to that Christmas tree farm, and it's so colorful and like, or
Yeah.
they're kind of, there's that shot too where they're approaching it and you see the searchlights in the distance, and
Mhm.
it's this big wide shot, and you're like, man, this is like some Kubrick or Fellini, type
Yeah.
shit. Like this is pretty
Yeah.
good. You're like, wow,
Yeah.
this is really good. Or the guy who
Yeah.
directed The Graduate, or it just makes me think of movies like that, old '60s, '70s comedy movies. You
Mhm.
know, um, but
Those
yeah,
guys had the sauce, dude. Had the sauce.
oh yeah, yeah. And then the writing was, I really liked the writing in this too. How'd you feel about the story and the gags and just the script overall.
I appreciated it. Like I appreciated like the whole sentiment of it. You know, with like I forget the name of the characters, but with the girl trying to like learn how to make like the eggs,
Yeah,
right?
Marcy.
And
Yeah.
yeah, Marcy trying to make the eggs and she keeps messing it up. She like boils them. She like it is funny when they had that moment because in my head I was like, is anybody gonna stop her? Is she gonna do the whole carton? Then we just like watch her like put the whole carton of eggs into the boiling water. So that was, I found that interesting. And then he was like, "Why does it smell like egg soup?" I liked that. I liked kind of like this repetition element of it. It's like they fail at making the eggs. They go out, to buy more eggs. So there's like this interesting element to the film with like consumerism and the holidays, right? And then this idea of like doing too much and the thought that the holidays are just supposed to be kind of like this magical thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's a holiday and it's Easter. Like, why don't we just like have fun and enjoy being together and everything else will take care of itself? That was kind of like the whole idea with that kid. What is it, Linus?
Yeah.
They just keep being like, the Easter Beagle, it's like, you're wasting your time. The Easter Beagle is gonna, do it for us. It's like this idea of like believing in like magic, right? And the kids are just kind of like, oh, you're like, it's like, how am I supposed to trust you? Just as like, I just like, there's that scene where that little girl says like I can trust the Easter Beagle, but can I trust you? Like, are you saying something that's true? Are you, what is this?
Yeah.
I
There was a
appreciated
good
that.
bit.
Again,
There was a good bit of continuity from the Great Pumpkin special. She
yeah.
mentions
Yeah,
it in
because she
this
said
one.
that. She called them out. Yeah, she called them
Yeah,
out.
and then another bit
Um,
of continuity that's a little more subtle is because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, so how, like, what is this Easter Beagle thing? Why does he believe that? And the interesting thing
mhm,
is, and what happens in the Halloween special is, his whole thing is the Great Pumpkin is going to show up on Halloween, and the Halloween one is, it's funny because the Christmas special, Thanksgiving special, and now this Easter special are very, they all have that consumerism theme in them. They're
mhm,
all anti-consumerist, which was a big thing in the 70s. Like Dawn of the Dead was this whole anti-consumerist film. That was a big, um, I guess, cultural thing in the 70s thematically. And but what's interesting is the Great Pumpkin one. It does knock on consumerism in there, but a bigger theme is sort of belief and religion and kind of hoaxes, And
yeah,
Linus has this whole hang up of, hey, the Great Pumpkin's going to come on Halloween, And what ends up happening is he sees Snoopy and he thinks it's the Great Pumpkin, and he freaks out, but then he realizes, oh, it's just Snoopy. So I think what they were trying to imply is that he has this vague memory of seeing Snoopy as like a magical being
feature.
almost, and then has
Yeah,
now, because Linus is supposed to be like a toddler,
mhm.
a 5 year
It's like
old,
walking
I
around with
think.
like a little blanket. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think that's this weird memory that he has that he's now transplanting onto Easter, saying like, "Oh, the Easter Beagle's going to come." Anyway, that's my way too
Mhm.
deep reading into a Charlie Brown special, but
Yeah, yeah.
there you go.
It's funny though
I
how
think
all
that's what they
these
were going for.
yeah, it's funny how all these cartoons start like that. But no, I appreciated the writing. I thought that it was like very simple, but very much to the point. Like to the point and like it's straightforward but like witty. And it was like a kind of like a pleasure to follow these things around and kind of see these elements of repetition.
Hmm.
Um, it's interesting how these like stories like have these elements. Like how like with Dr. Seuss, The Grinch. It's like an anti-consumerism story.
Yeah,
But it's interesting that all of these things then are just like, then you consume these things. There's like
right.
the Grinch sweaters and socks and pants and pajamas. And it's like, oh God. And it's funny when everybody's like walking around with these things. And it's like, these are stories that just tell people like, don't put too much importance on like buying things. But whatever, that's beside the point, I guess.
Oh yeah. I've been thinking about that lately too, how weird the entertainment business is and how the
Stop preaching
entertainment
at people.
yeah, and how the entertainment industry is really the backbone of our nation and maybe
Yes.
like global society, civilization as a whole, but it really is the backbone of America in a way, and everything sort of feeds it and then it feeds everything else. And what's in,
Yeah.
like, people have noted that we've all, you can come up with countless examples of what you just said where, I mean,
Hmm.
the Peanuts is $1 billion empire. I mean,
Right,
Charles
exactly.
Schultz, and good for him. He built a mansion and he had his own tennis court in his backyard. Um, but yeah, it's really interesting, and people have noted that. I'll get into this later, but the new season of The Boys is out, and
Boys.
people have noted that that show and the comic book originally too are parodies of the superhero genre, and in the show they make fun of the fact that like Marvel has its whole like phase 7
Yeah,
planned for
yeah.
2035, right? And there's an analog in the Boys universe. They have superhero franchises as well, only the superheroes are also real. um,
Mhm.
And people have noted, though, that already they're starting to plan spin-offs and sequels, and they have
Right.
an active spin-off for The Boys already. And it's like they're just becoming the thing they're parodying.
Yeah, because and that's always been like that. I've had that issue with media for a long time. Because I remember that was like my big issue with the Deadpool movie. I remember
Yeah,
like when we talked about the Deadpool movie. I was like I don't like Deadpool because it's parodying these things and then just doing them.
yeah,
It's like if you're gonna be self aware, at least be subversive and not do that. But then you're just doing it. It's interesting how that goes, right? Because a lot of the time when media becomes successful, even if it's just media that is trying to lambast like other media, if it becomes successful, at some point it's just gonna be this kind of like hypocritical thing that happens with it, right? Where then it's just okay, we can make money out of this thing, so let's make money out of it. Like with I think with Dr. Seuss or whoever made the Grinch, I think it's Dr. Seuss, right?
yeah. That's
I
Dr.
think
Seuss.
he like refused to like sell the rights to the Grinch for merchandising. He like refused. That was like an actual thing that he held up to. But
Mm.
as soon as he croaked, his wife sold the rights to the Grinch.
Yeah.
So that's why there's all this Grinch stuff everywhere as of the past like 10 years. Because it's like, well, there's like $1 billion to be made out of the Grinch, so somebody's gonna cash that check, even if you don't do it, Mr. Seuss.
Yeah.
Your ex-wife did it.
Yeah, exactly. That's so funny. I slightly related note, I went to the Dr. Seuss Museum in Massachusetts last summer. Fucking great, man. It was so cool.
Really?
Oh yeah, you see a ton of. They have like it's this whole trove of his original art and these little sketches that he did, and the beginnings of different characters and little scribblings and stuff. So
Yeah.
cool to see. Highly recommend if you're ever in Massachusetts, in the Springfield, Massachusetts area,
Mhm.
um, kind of near Boston. Check out the Dr. Seuss Museum. I believe it's on his hometown street, the street he grew up on, Mulberry Street. Pretty sure.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, you know what struck me about this Peanut special? I don't even know if it's really a weakness, but I felt it. Was it was really there was a striking absence of Charlie Brown himself in this.
Yeah, I thought about that.
It was
I thought about
weird,
that. That was a thought because I don't have a lot of experience with the Charlie Brown things. Obviously, the guy's name is on everything.
right?
So because he was like barely in it, I was like, "Isn't this like?" I had that thought. I was like, I thought Charlie Brown was like the protagonist of these things.
Yeah,
But I guess sometimes it's just like a side character, which I did appreciate that. I was like, oh, that's fine. I guess he's just kind of in it like for like a little bit.
yeah. It wasn't a negative for me. It was kind of something to note, I guess. It was
Yeah.
just very interesting. I found it interesting that he didn't even get a subplot of any kind. He was
No, he was
kind
just
of
around.
Yeah, he was kind of a little bitch in this episode, though, I'm not gonna lie. Like when they were playing around, I literally said it out
I
loud.
didn't like it. Yeah, I didn't like them dancing and stuff.
Yeah, I was like, I'm starting to see why people don't like you, Charlie Brown. Why people?
Yeah.
What I'm starting to see why Lucy had you on the not to invite list for her
Yeah,
Halloween
he,
party.
he's a party pooper, dude. He's a wet blanket.
Yeah, but yeah, I respect them for just leaving him out of it for the most part because he's the main focus of the Christmas special, the Thanksgiving special, and to a lesser extent the Halloween special.
Mhm.
The main focus of the Halloween special is Linus, but
Okay.
Charlie Brown's kind of the B plot of that one. Um, yeah, I liked how all all the plots kind of came together at the end
Right.
really nicely in this one too. I love
Yeah.
Snoopy and Woodstock are always great, man.
Yeah, Trippy was great. Give people kisses.
Yeah,
Like I like when he gave them kisses.
Oh man, I love Snoopy. Well, I love Snoopy too. He reminds me of Teddy, my old dog. Rest in
Yeah.
peace. He's got the same coloration, even the same big
Yeah.
black spot on his side. He had that.
Yeah.
But yeah, him and Woodstock are always great. I loved Woodstock's little '70s lounge that he had
Yeah.
in his birdhouse, and the shit where
Yeah, he ruined
Snoopy
it.
accidentally wrecks it actually made me
Yeah.
laugh out loud. That was pretty fun. That was pretty funny.
That was pretty funny. Yeah, he ruined it. He just stuck his big old nose in it.
That was pretty
Say, dude, what
funny.
are you doing?
Yeah, the way they animated that was just hilarious to me. I was laughing. Um, cool. Well, that's the Easter Beagle. Unless you got anything else to add.
No, I enjoyed it. Good pick. Nice, like the spirit to it. Very
Yeah,
fun. I would recommend people watch these Charlie Brown cartoons. But yeah, that's it for me for that.
yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, and great seasonality too. All of these, the animators and the artists, background artists, and everyone, when they made these Charlie Brown specials, they really paid a lot of mind to the seasonality. I think. Of course, in the Christmas one, you have it snowing, but there really is, for how simple the backgrounds are. They also make a lot of use of the real estate, and they put nice details in there. Um,
Right.
I mean, in the Halloween one, you get nice like little patches of leaves, a harvest moon, uh, you know, a little pumpkin patch in the background. The Thanksgiving one, you just get some scattered fall leaves. And this one too, you get some every shot just kind of, I noticed every shot had like flowers in the background. Even in indoors,
Mhm.
there would be a vase full of flowers, and it just kept hitting me with that springtime feel, which is,
Yeah.
to me, that's like what holidays are about. They're about celebrating kind of the season of the
Hmm.
year
For
that
sure.
you're in. That's really
Sure.
that's what holidays mean to me. um
That's why to me I feel like I have to live somewhere like where there's like seasons to the year, you
yes,
know? There's something beautiful about that, just seeing kind of the planet like reshape itself, That's very interesting.
absolutely, man. I've always I mean, I've pretty much decided, like, I mean, I don't think I want to live anywhere else except for the um upper southern United States, like
Yeah.
southeastern United States, cuz like, you know, everywhere else that's ruined. I mean, out west, it's just a desert, forget it.
Yeah.
Deep south, it's too hot. It's like warm on
Just hot, yeah.
Halloween.
Because that's what I grew up with, in my country was just hot all year round, so you
Yeah.
don't have seasons. Everything's just hot. You're just
Yeah.
sweating, you know,
Yeah.
December 31st, you're sweating, as much as, June 1st.
Right. Right. But then, up like, I have cousins who are the opposite of that. They're up in Minnesota, and
Yeah,
it's
it's too cold.
snowing mid-October up there. So that kind
Yeah.
of ruins the Halloween season. My dad said, my parents grew up in upstate New York. My dad said he remembers one year where Halloween just, it didn't feel like Halloween because it snowed the week
Mhm.
before. There was like snow all
So
over the
it's just because
ground.
the season's too short when you're living in a place like that. You only get so much like spring and summer.
Yeah, but like the upper southeast of the U.S., Tennessee, the Carolinas,
Mhm.
it's just
Oh,
perfect. Yeah,
yeah.
it's just perfect. You get all four of those seasons just at the right time, and it
Mhm.
really. I've sort of, not to get weirdly. This is not a hippie thing, but I like to get kind of attuned with them. Like, all right, it's springtime. It's time to you know settle
To go
into.
biking, dude.
Say what?
Time to go biking.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. Frank Ocean. It's
Mm.
time to go hiking. uh Fall comes around, it's like, all right, it's time to kind of settle in, reap the harvest, metaphorically. It's like, kind of,
Mhm.
you know kick back and enjoy the fruits of your labor. Look
Mhm.
back, contemplate things.
Yeah.
um Shut up, Jake. Fucking hippie. All right. Uh,
Peace and love, everybody. Good
yeah.
season.
I wanted to shout out real quick myself, as if I wasn't insufferable enough already. I have some good news, some great
Yeah.
news. So a few months ago, I sold a novella, short novel,
Mhm.
to an independent publisher, and I have a release date now. I'm going to wait till they kind of release details, but we have a release date. It's fairly soon. More details to come. Thank you, thank you. But I'm
Yeah,
really,
dude, that's good.
yeah,
Very nice, bro. Very nice.
thank you. Very excited about it. But yeah, it's a scary novella. It's a horror novella. You guys will get all the details as they come out, but you'll be able to get it digitally through Kindle, and I believe you'll be able to get a paperback as well. So stay tuned
Dude,
for
that's fucking
more.
dope, dog. That's
Yeah,
so dope, man.
and thank
Yeah,
you,
congrats,
thank you.
man.
I am
Congrats,
now
brother.
an
Back in your bag, huh?
Yeah, appreciate it, man. I'm now an independently published author, so we're making some steps, you know. That is not the super long novel that I mentioned here and there. That's a whole different
Yeah.
beast. This is something much shorter. You'll probably be able to read it in an evening
Mhm.
or two. But yeah, it's a fun, scary ass story that will be fun for the whole family. But yeah,
Check it out, folks. Check
yeah,
it
yeah.
out. We'll let you know when it's out.
Give us a topic, Edward. Throw something out there. Spin that wheel of fortune and get us going with something.
Well, dude, I wanted to go back to the WWE conversation that we had
Me
before.
too, dude.
Well, but because
Let's do it.
for me there's just something that I need to get with you because I wanted to talk about WWE guys that we did not like. I wanted to
Mm,
talk about that
yes.
because for me, I watched WWE from like the early 2000s to like the early 2010s. You know, so I had like a span of time of like I would say like 8 years of watching WWE. So in that time, people came in and they tried to sell them, and I didn't buy it,
Mm,
because you can hate a hill, but that's what the point. That's the point. Or you can love a hill, and that's also kind of the point. And you can love a baby face, but the problem is when you hate a baby face, and that's kind of like where I'm at with
yes.
this conversation, because you know I was never team like Cena sucks, but that was like a huge thing, right? Let's go Cena, Cena sucks. That was a huge
Hmm.
thing. John Cena became a meme because people disliked how much of a big old baby face, good old boy he was, and then other people loved it. So it's like it was like a weird thing with him. But I was not part of Cena sucks. I was like Cena's fine. I
I
did find
I
him a little
was
bit insufferable
too.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But
I was too. I didn't mind Cena too much until I got a little bit around like 2011, 2012. Then I was like,
yeah,
I
that's when
think
I
it was like
stopped. Yeah.
2012 is when I really started getting kind of sick of him. But yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, because I stopped watching in 2012. So like I got out of there before like it became too much. But I love certain guys. Like I loved again, as anybody who's an old listener, I loved Shawn Michaels. He's my all-time goat for the WWE. I loved heel guys like Triple H. I loved Stone Cold. Although Stone Cold was a fucking babyface for the most part. He was like a very anti-establishment
Yeah.
guy. There's a lot of guys that I loved. Talked about that. I loved the Hardy Boys. I loved Edge. Hated Randy Orton. Which is also part of the point. You hate Randy.
Yeah.
So it's like I had a lot of the time with the storytelling that WWE had. I was like right in their pocket. They had me. I liked the baby faces, or I disliked the heels, or I liked the heels. But it was never like it was strange for me to dislike a baby face except with Daniel Bryan.
Really? Whoa, that's controversial, man. You're
Yeah,
in the
that's good.
minority on that one.
That's why I'm bringing this up because we talked
Yeah.
about this. We talked about WWE and we talked about like the pops that we remember that were meaningful And
You
during
gotta
that
expand
conversation, I
on that.
couldn't.
Why didn't you like Daniel Bryan?
During that conversation, I couldn't help but a thought sneak into my head, and I just remembered. I was like, "Oh, Daniel Bryan," you know. Ah, it was weird, man, because I was a young boy. I was a young kid, and there was something about Daniel Bryan and the way that they would talk about him. Like he would come up, and he was a short guy. I'm gonna look him up. Or at least he seemed tall anyway. I mean, he seemed short anyway. I don't know how tall he
Yeah,
actually
he
is.
was smaller. He was like
Daniel
CM
Bryan.
Punk's size, right?
Daniel Bryan is. Let me
I'm gonna guess
see.
5'9".
He's
Five.
5'10", so he's not that short. But he's like, he came across short because all those other guys are pretty tall on TV.
They also add
Um,
height to everybody. See, with WWE guys, you pretty much got to take away 2 inches, and that's their real height a lot of the time. They add height. They even add height to Rey Mysterio, which to me is weird because it's like, why do you have to add? I guess maybe because of scale, because it's like, well, if you're gonna
yeah,
say that Triple H is this height, then you got to say that Rey Mysterio is this height. That's probably
yeah.
why. But anyway,
Well, it's funny though, because if you Google Rey Mysterio says he's 5'6", there's a Reddit post that debunked this. It says, "We all
yeah,
know Rey Mysterio is 5'3".
yeah.
But it says, but he's built 5'6", and Daniel Bryan is built 5'10" when he's really 5'8".
Yeah, exactly.
That's really funny. So yeah, Daniel Bryan's 5'8",
Yeah.
and he came up and he was just like this clean shaven, you know, guy with like a terrible haircut, like a terrible haircut.
Yeah,
He had this terrible.
it was like the
He
type of
had
haircut like when your mom cuts your hair for you. It was
yes,
like that.
yeah, it was that. He was a dork. And he was like this, and he was like this submission specialist. Like whenever he came out, they always said like, "Oh, Daniel Bryan." Whenever you had the commentary guys like talking as he was wrestling, they was like, "Oh, Daniel Bryan, he's like, a technical guy. He's got he's got the techniques. He'll pin you down."
And then
Like
he had like
they were
one
always
submission move. He had, like one move.
they were always like yapping about how he was like a technical guy and how he was like a submissions guy and how he was like, you don't want to be on the floor with Daniel Bryan. Like they were always on that, and it was just this thing with him, dude, where I just couldn't stand him. Like I couldn't stand him because even then I would watch Daniel Bryan. Sorry, Daniel Bryan. I would watch Daniel Bryan, and I would just think to myself, this guy is a dork. You know,
You were
even
like
how he
Michael
was dressed.
Cole. That's what Michael Cole said too.
Even how he was dressed, like the mom haircut, the clean shaven, just this like just this dude, with little wrestling like little tidy little like
Yeah,
underwear,
he had like
like
granny panties.
yes, like he was wearing granny panties and like huge and like boots,
Yeah.
like almost like knee-high boots, and I was just watching him, dude, and I would just think to myself, like, there is nothing interesting about this guy. Like, I just
No.
couldn't buy it,
I always
I
liked
couldn't buy
CM
it.
Punk. Like CM Punk was the guy. I like CM Punk was an awesome version of Daniel Bryan. He was like edgy. He was great on the mic, and
Yeah,
his technical prowess I could actually see. Like he had a
yeah,
very varied move set. He put on incredible matches. I mean, his like match with the Undertaker at WrestleMania is widely regarded like as one of the best WrestleMania matches ever, I think. I mean, his matches with John Cena were insane. I mean, I remember he pile drove John Cena in a match on an episode of Raw. I was like, holy shit. But then like Daniel Bryan, I agree. I wasn't in a spot where I couldn't stand him, but I didn't care about
mhm.
him. Like
No, I couldn't stand him.
because I remember after I stopped watching, I would hear, like I said, I'm
He
still a
got
lurk.
big.
Yeah, I'm still a lurker, and people were like obsessed with him, and the crowd loved him to the point that they had to
Yes,
add him.
yes,
Yeah, the
yes.
yes chant.
Ah,
They had to add him into the WrestleMania 30 main event. They changed it to a triple threat because people were so pissed. Like people
mhm.
loved that guy.
People love that guy,
But
and that
like
and
he would
that's
come out
that's
on the mic, and especially when he was a baby face, like when he would come out on the
yeah,
mic and he would just be like, I am gonna be the next champion. He felt like
exactly.
he felt like a swimmer. He felt like some like
Yeah,
collegiate swimmer who's just like, yeah,
exactly.
I'm gonna I'm looking to win. I'm looking to win. But I want to thank
Yeah,
God
exactly.
first, because without him, none of this happens. You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
it was just that, dude. It was that, and
yeah,
I think you make a great point that he did. It was like he was like Punk if you just like took all the things that were like edgy and interesting about Punk,
yeah.
like
Even the
then
tattoos.
mixed that with like Kurt Angle, you know, and then you get this guy, and it was just like really like uninteresting. So
Yeah,
it was just fascinating to me, you know, that again because I was on a Daniel Bryan hate train, and so then when I get off WWE, and like you, I just keep kind of lurking, and I will catch the random like Raw every now and then, even though like I kind of had stopped watching it. And Daniel Bryan would come on, and then I would be like, "Oh, they're like, you know, he's kind of like doing something again. You know, now he has a beard, you know, and now he's getting on the top rope, and he's like getting people to say yes, you know, right? He's just screaming." I just would turn off the TV. Like Daniel Bryan, dude, Daniel Bryan was the nail in the coffin for the WWE and me. Like
wow.
it was the nail in the coffin. It was like what got me like fully out of it. Like when I would see that, when I would see Daniel Bryan getting the crowd all hyped up, that's when I knew. I was like, it's over for me. Like this is not, you know, it's over for me.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
done. I've been ushered off. I'm done.
That is very interesting. Okay.
Yeah, dude.
I can see it, man. And that is that you're we're I think we're in a I don't I would have to look up. I'm sure there's a lot of there might be a good number of people who feel this way too. But
Yeah.
yeah, I never cared too much about Daniel Bryan. But that's very interesting that he was the nail in the coffin for you.
That was a nail in the coffin, dude.
The
Because again, it just felt like the WWE had entered like a new age. Like when he became like the main babyface guy and everybody loved him, I was like, okay, I've been left behind. And this guy that I didn't like is now like the main big babyface guy. I was like, I'm left
yeah.
behind. It's over for me. It's over.
Well,
You know?
he might have bounced too soon because I get there were other factors.
I know that he turned heel too.
Well, he so even when he won that WrestleMania main event though, he then like broke his neck and he had to take a year off. And after
Yeah, I knew about
that,
that too.
that was it. He was I think he was just a mid carder after that
Yeah.
because
That
then they
did
had Roman Reigns and they were pushing Roman Reigns to the moon. And
I know they're pushing him a lot.
I think Roman Reigns because at that time nowadays Roman Reigns is a heel
Mhm.
and he
They were
works
pushing
really
the babyface
well.
shit with him. I know
Yeah.
that, yeah.
He works really well as a heel, apparently, and I've
Yeah.
seen some of the stuff, and people have widely considered like that to be some of the best WWE television ever is like Roman
Yeah.
Reigns as a heel. But
You know
when they
what?
were trying to push him as a babyface for years, people hated it. And I
Yeah, I knew about
believe
that.
Roman Reigns was in the main events of WrestleMania 31 through 34. All
Yes, I know
four
about
main
that.
events.
Yeah, I
Eh,
knew about that too. It was like I knew about that they just that Vince just wanted him to be like a babyface so bad, and it was just like it was just like it was just it wasn't working, you know,
Yeah.
and it was having the opposite effect. So it was good when they actually then were like, okay, let's just have this guy heel because people hate him already.
Exactly. And then
Yeah.
like ironically people love it. They're like, "Oh shit, this is
Yes.
awesome." Cuz he did I've
Yeah.
seen some of the clips. He is scary as a heel. I mean,
Yeah.
he's like Triple H in the early 2000s, like
Yeah.
the reign of terror or whatever they call that, but
Yeah.
better, you know.
Goat.
Uh yeah, I mean he's and Roman Reigns his wrestling is more exciting than Triple H's for I think.
Yeah, oh,
Uh,
for sure. Triple H is very like one-dimensional guy.
Yeah, yeah.
In
Triple H
terms of
was
like a
always like a good
stage performance.
character because there would be
Yes.
guys I liked as characters, but I didn't like their
Yeah.
wrestling, and vice versa.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah,
but
I did appreciate, like, Triple H's wrestling, I did appreciate it, but I knew that it was, like, limited, you know?
it was very
But in terms of, like,
brawler
his
kind of style.
exactly, but in terms of, like, his performance, I always loved, like, the character Triple H, I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. He
Yeah.
was a great character. Max Landis was like spot on with that whole
Wrestling is
Triple H
wrestling?
character study. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like that was really. That was spot on. But with Roman
Hmm.
Reigns, yeah, with Super Eye Patch Wolf, shout out to that guy. He has a great video on detailing the whole story of Roman Reigns and how it speaks to wrestling as an art form. And he goes all the way through from Roman Reigns' beginnings in the Shield all the way up through like recently as a
I think I've
heel.
seen this. I think I've seen this iPatch Wolf video.
Okay. And
Yeah.
there's an interesting part because there's a part where he talks about the WrestleMania 31 main event between him and Brock Lesnar, and he says if you watch it with the sound off, it tells this story of like an underdog who's trying to overcome this monster, Brock Lesnar. But he said if you
Mhm.
take it off of mute, you just hear this crowd wildly cheering whenever Brock Lesnar knocks the shit out
Yeah.
of the underdog, like, and it's just bizarre, you know.
Yeah, it's really fascinating, isn't it?
And I've
Yeah.
seen that match, and it's like a good match. It's actually a really good match. Like they beat
Yeah.
the shit out of each other in that match, but people are just going wild. Like I think there's a part
Yeah.
of that match where I have a memory of it where Brock Lesnar he's like holding him on he's holding Roman on the apron, and then he just rears back and then open hand slaps Roman across the face so hard that Roman like topples off of the fucking ring, and like everybody's just
Great
like
performance.
wow,
Yeah.
and you can
Great
hear it like
performance.
he slapped the shit out of him, dude.
Yeah, that's like right off like that Shawn Michaels school of
Yeah,
like overselling like a specific thing, you know?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but to go back to something, I do want to say it did make me feel really bad when Daniel Bryan got injured and he had to step away. Like
yeah.
even like for a hater, I would have like rather he just keep going strong, and that happened to him. So that was like kind of sad. But you know, in the ring, I did hate him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But the man himself, I don't have any hate for the man himself. I'm sure he's a nice person.
yeah.
Um, that being said, though, is that a thing for you? Like, is there a wrestler for you that you were like, people, I love this guy, you know, and I just hate him, you know?
I have a
Or
couple of the
was that Roman Reigns?
uh Roman Reigns was after my time, so I stopped watching in early 2013, which is when the Shield was just starting to become a thing. So Roman was after my time, and I liked him when he was in the Shield, like for that little piece that I watched before stopping WWE altogether. Um, but for me, it was for a little while actually when they first turned Randy Orton face in 2010. They started pushing him to the moon. And I actually felt the same way about Randy Orton that I think a lot of people felt about John Cena. He really started to annoy me, and I was like, 12 at the time, and I was really annoyed with how it was just like RKO, RKO. Oh my god, another RKO out of nowhere, and it was like Randy's just always RKOing everybody and winning and winning and winning, and no one can beat Randy. To the point that I remember when, like, at the time, Nexus, led by Wade Barrett, would beat the shit out of Randy. 12-year-old me would be like, yes, finally. Like, I was actually,
Yeah.
I was like, I was just getting so annoyed with it, man. It was like, I think, again, the way people felt about Super Cena, that's how I felt about Randy in 2010. But then in
Mhm.
2011, when they brought him over to SmackDown, they chilled out with that shit, and they had some really great storylines. Like him and Christian had a great feud over a few months, and then him and Mark
Mhm.
Henry, and I liked him after that, and I
Is
loved
that
him
guy
as a heel.
is that guy still going? How old is that guy?
Randy Orton,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, he
Randy?
gained like 50 pounds of muscle, dude. He looks like Batista now. He
Yeah, he weighs
literally
275 pounds according to this thing. He's 46. Like, dude, it's time to hang it up. Like, gee, bro.
Dude, he
Enough's
looks like.
enough.
Are you looking at a modern photo of him? He looks like Batista
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
Like
he's huge. He's enormous. What the hell?
he
He's
just.
humongous.
I wonder how he did that.
Holy crap, he's huge, dude.
I wonder how he put on all that muscle.
He's got that Jeremy Renner look on his face now.
Yeah, that stretched out kind of look. Oh yeah. Yeah. that testicle look.
That testy look, dude. He got it. He like somehow, somehow, whatever he's going through in his life, whatever he's doing to himself, he earned it. You know, he earned himself a testy, dude.
Randy.
He has 3. He earned his head becoming his 3rd testicle.
And that's how he, because it
Shade
produced
Randy.
more testosterone, so that's how he put on all that muscle. Yeah,
Your head just becomes inflated, dude,
yeah. Randy,
and
Randy,
like raging.
Randy Scroton.
Orton, Randy
Scroton.
Scroton.
Yes, Scroton.
Oh god. Oh man, that's my bit. I'm like laughing so much I'm getting a headache. Yeah, that's all I got over the movie. I just wanted to let my Daniel Bryan hate out.
And then for the only other one I could think of off the top of my head is actually a heel. It was Alberto Del Rio. I don't think I'm in the.
Oh yeah, Lord of the Rio.
I'm not in the.
I remember.
I'm not in the minority on that though. I think most people feel this way. What was weird about Alberto Del Rio was he was one of the heels that I actually legit hated. Like I really hated him. He was so.
Yeah, I hated him. He was a prick. He was a prick.
He was such a prick. Like the way he would like just. I mean, dude, he was such a douchebag. Like right from the beginning, when he would attack Rey Mysterio, he would put his arm in that fucking steel chair and just bash him into the ring post for no reason. The way he'd put people in that arm bar, and then when they tapped, he'd keep them in the arm bar until like the referee pulled them off. Like and just that smug smile. He really was an effective heel. I legitimately hated him as a kid, but oddly enough, I kind of hated to hate him. I didn't love to hate him. Like, because I think part of my actual anger also came from just not wanting to see him either. Like, I think he also was not like a welcome presence on my TV screen. Like, when they would have storylines with him, I was just like, what? Like, I remember in 2012, it was starting to be like the downswing of my interest in WWE. They had like this huge rivalry between him and Randy Orton, and I was just like, what? Like, I don't know. And then he fought Edge at WrestleMania. I went to that WrestleMania. I was like, what? Like, he just wasn't that interesting. So
they booted him like not too long after that. Like I feel like he like left like at some point like in a very like random way. Like he just was gone.
Yeah, apparently he was like a problem backstage, like a huge problem. He had some kind of, and he dated that Paige wrestler, and I think they had an abusive relationship, and it was like a whole mess. Yeah, I think he did some other stuff too. I think he's like pretty disgraced now. I'm pretty sure he's like wrestling in high school gyms now, which is like to go from WrestleMania to
he's
that.
Huge. He's like 6'5". He's humongous.
That is crazy, isn't it? Like some of these guys, you don't really see the size because they're next to guys like Ryback or John Cena. But
this guy's huge.
Yeah, but then like Edge, you wouldn't think Edge is huge, but he's 6'5". He's 6'5" too, and like, you know, it's like a lot of those guys. When you take away the scale factor of them being next to guys like Batista, you're like, oh, actually, these are still big guys.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm reading Alberto de Rio's like stuff.
Yeah,
real name's Rodriguez. Real name is what's his real name? His real name is Alberto. Well, his name is Jose Alberto Rodriguez Chucuan. That's his real name, Mexican wrestler. He has like there's a page in his Wikipedia that just says legal issues. In 2020, he was arrested because of SA. And then he was booked in jail. Causing bodily harm. He was released on a fine of 50,000 bail. Ooh, he was indicted in the grand jury for charged with aggravated kidnapping and SA, 2 felonies. Ooh,
wow.
Charges were dropped in 2021, and apparently in 2026. This is recent. In April 6, 2026. It's April 9 right now.
Oh
On April
shit!
6th, so 3 days ago, he was arrested in St. Louis by the state civil guard after his wife reported 9/11 that she was a victim of SA and physical assault.
What the fuck? Damn,
So
dude.
he's not doing very great.
Damn, we look him up,
He,
and he did something 3 days ago. Jesus.
he did
Oh,
that 3 days ago, dude. He's a menace. They need to
holy
get him.
shit. Some people are just menaces, dude. What is up with that? There's some people
That's
that
the thing.
just can't
You could
stop.
see that in him. You could see that in the ring. You could see that that guy was a bad guy.
Yeah.
You could see that it's like this guy's weird. This is a weird bad guy. He's getting too much pressure out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if I think of anyone else though, I'll let you know. I mean, I think there was like again like Santino Morella I hated, but I think most people hated him.
Santino. I didn't hate Santino. I just I saw the very first match Santino ever had. I was there. Like I wasn't there in person, but I watched it. Like I watched that episode that where he like debuted because they did like a gimmick with him where he was just a guy in the crowd.
Yeah,
He was just a guy in the crowd,
that's
and they
right.
like got him in to like do something to like wrestle a guy or like to pin a guy, like to do like a finishing move and like pin a guy. And I was like, oh, but obviously, in retrospect, it's like obviously they wouldn't just get some guy out of the crowd. It's like a whole legal issue. The guy was a
Sure.
plant. And then the next week he like turned up as like a wrestler.
Yeah.
And obviously he was a gimmick wrestler. But I didn't hate Santino. I thought he was whatever.
I hated him because he ruined my suspension of disbelief.
Yeah,
Um,
he completely ruined it. Like he was such like a they did not give a fuck about kayfabe with that guy.
yeah, because none of his. I mean, the Cobra thing is like no, like
Yeah,
it doesn't just to make your to point your fingers and jab someone on the chest and act
he's not
like you
gonna
can pin
defeat
them.
them. Yeah,
Yeah, there's just no suspension of disbelief. It just ruined
no.
that. Even like some of the moves he would do, like he did that weird hip throw thing where like he'd throw someone off the ropes, they would run at him, and then he would literally put one arm under their armpit and
Hmm.
like lift them through the air and throw them over him.
Yes,
And I
yeah,
was
and
like,
that
that
wasn't enough
you
either.
can't do that. That doesn't work. I know that like
No.
most wrestling moves wouldn't actually work, but there's a suspension of disbelief, and I think this is why like I actually don't. I'm not with people who like are all about the Attitude Era. I
Hmm.
think the Attitude Era is kind of crap in a way because I obviously didn't grow up on it, but I've watched some of it in retrospect, and it's kind of crap. It's just so cartoony,
Yeah, it is very cartoony.
and I prefer the Ruthless Aggression era and even the PG era, to be honest with you. Um,
Hmm.
I mean that is the stuff I grew up on, but it they had it. There was a suspension of disbelief there, where it's like this is a dramatization of a sport, and these guys come out. They have differing like gear, but they don't come out in like weird costumes. And if they do, they take it off when they wrestle. So there was a suspension of disbelief there. Um, I'm glad you brought up WWE again, though, because I actually had something in my notes here that I wanted to expand on with WWE as well. Unless you had someone else that you were another Daniel Bryan that you were going to talk about.
No, it was interesting because I was reading about Santino. Apparently, he's back. He like returned to WWE in 2025.
Oh, really?
In July 29th, he wrestled again after 11 years. Wrestled again under the Santino Marella character. And it's funny because if you go down a little bit further to personal life, then it says his name is Carabelli, like Carelli in real life. It says Carelli has had multiple neck surgeries in his career.
Ooh,
And then it says the disc at his L4 and L5 is very thin. And when you read stuff like that, like when you read that this guy is like, in his like mid 50s or whatever, and he has like had multiple surgeries, and seemingly he's in a situation with his discs
yeah,
where he probably shouldn't be doing wrestling. And then you also read that it's like, oh, and by the way, he's doing wrestling again. it just makes me think of the movie The Fucking Wrestler, the fucking Darren Aronofsky movies, where it's like these guys just don't know when to give this stuff up, man.
Yeah.
It's like your body's telling you that it's like, hey man, if you keep doing this, you're probably gonna be like on a wheelchair for the rest of your life. And they just keep going. Like there's no quitting on these guys, dude. If you told me, man, if you told me like, hey, if you keep doing like the podcast, we're gonna have to like remove your one of your arms, I'll be like, I'm done with the podcast. What is over? Never
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. I don't know if the podcast is a
Because-
great analogy to that though,
But
because
that was the only thing I could think of.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying.
and I know you already know this, but it's like it is if that's your life, that's what you love doing. Because like if someone told me like if you don't stop writing, you might lose a feeling in your leg. I don't know, something.
Right.
I would be like, okay, I might still do it. To be honest, I don't know. I might still
Yeah, I
keep
don't know,
doing it.
because the way that I see it with like those guys, like they already had it. Like you already had your success. You're in your mid 50s. Like
That is true.
you had it. Because at that point, it's like, dude, it's about continuing to abuse something
Mhm.
that you've abused so much that your body's like, like has so much wear and tear that it's like you can't keep doing this, man.
Yeah.
You can't keep doing this, dog.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Uh,
That's a tough thing about like sports and sport adjacent things like professional wrestling, But
oh, for sure, dude. I had to see Rafa play his last tennis match. It wasn't pretty.
oh really? Yeah. Did he injure himself? Or was it
No, it's
just
just like
slow, kind of like past his prime?
exactly. It's just like seeing a guy and being like, oh man, you're not at the level anymore.
Yeah. It
It's
it
rough,
it
man. When
reminds you
you
of
like
your own
love like
mortality too, your own aging.
exactly.
You're like, fuck, dude, in 10 years, am I gonna be noticeably slower, Like
That's the thing, man. Because it's like that's the thing. Because it's like you with Rafa with his last year on tour is just he came back from like an injury because he had like an injury on his hip. He had a hip injury. And usually with these tennis guys, if they have a hip injury, it's like, you might as well like you might as well put the racket down. you know. But he had a hip injury and he came back and he was just losing to chumps, man. Because that's the thing when you have like a champion, for all intents and purposes. And I don't think anybody would debate me on this, even like tennis connoisseur people. That was like top two all time, all time. He's this, the second best guy,
I disagree.
Djokovic is, I don't, statistically he's the best. He's the second best. Djokovic is above him. Like titles wise, he's the best. Second all time. He has a head to head. He has a leading head to head on fucking Federer. He has more titles than Federer. He's better than Federer. You get over it. But Djokovic is better than him. Djokovic has a head to head on him by like one match, and Djokovic has more titles. So Djokovic is better. But with Rafa, it's fascinating because a 20-year career. And you just see these guys, and the same thing is true for Federer, where you just see these guys and their whole career, they're just dominating. And when you're so dominant in tennis, you basically take an L like very seldomly. And when you take an L, you take an L to a guy that is like on even terms with you. Rafa would only lose to like Roger, or he would only lose to like Djokovic. Otherwise, it was like once in a blue moon he would lose to like some rando, just because he maybe wasn't feeling that good or that rando was just playing just really great. And it happens. For instance, like Yannick Sinner, who's the world number 2 right now, he has lost 2 times this year. And he's currently like on a 15-match streak of just beating a guy and beating a guy and beating a guy and beating a guy. And out of like 30 matches, he's lost 2 this year, and we're in, April. It's fascinating. And there's a tennis tournament every week. So it's like, it's very impressive what these guys do.
Right.
So it was just interesting when Rafa came back to the tour. And, I had a lot of trepidation. And then it was just, it was just him going against the world number 120 and that guy giving him like a really tough time. And Rafa would like win. But then you're like, oh shit, dude, you had like a really tough time. That's like the guy 120. And then the next match, he would have a match like against a guy ranked like, 30, and that guy would like destroy him. And so it's like, oh, dude, it's over. Like when that happens in a competitive sport, like when you're struggling with the guys that you used to just wipe the floor with,
Right.
and then these guys that are like the top, world number 35 guys, like beating you, 2-2, like 6-2, 6-2 in straight. It's like, oh, dude, it's over, dog. It's over. That's when I knew it was over. It's like, it's over, dog. It's over. Just hang
Yeah.
up the racket. Let's not mess up the statistics. Let's just leave it up. You don't want to fuck around with your win losses. Just get out. He got out.
Yeah.
Uh,
That is tough, man. Aging's a bitch because it's like,
yeah,
and we haven't even really been through it yet, but it's like,
yeah,
it's because it's just, there's nothing to be done about it. You're just helplessly watching your life just, the sands of time pour into that little bottom half of the hourglass.
yep,
you know? And you really, I think I didn't realize up until recently how important it is in sport. Because I didn't really watch any sports up until I got into UFC again a couple years ago. I was slightly into UFC when I was into WWE. Um, and I remember like when people were talking about the potential Tom Aspinall and John Jones fight, I was like, oh well, that could be pretty competitive. John Jones might beat him. I don't know. And then
mhm,
people would kept bringing up the age difference. They're like, well, John Jones is 37, or I don't know, like he's 39, something like that, and Tom Aspinall is 29 or whatever he is. And I
yeah.
was like, oh shit, I
That's a
guess
big
that is a
difference,
big
man.
difference, and
A big
and
difference.
what's funny? We did that whole thing like 1 or 2 years ago where you were asking me about which WWE guys I think I could last in a
Yeah, I
real
remember that was a
fight.
fun conversation.
And
Yeah,
you know what? I definitely did not factor in age as much as I should have, because I
yeah,
think I even questioned whether I could beat like Chris Jericho in a fight because he seemed
yeah,
scrappy. And I look back
yeah.
on that and I'm like, dog, I could beat the shit out of that guy. What is that guy, like 55 or something?
Yeah,
And he's like
yeah, he is,
two
something like
inches
that. Let me look
shorter
him
than
up.
me. And like, I mean, come
Yeah.
on. And he doesn't have a real fight background. Like I nerfed myself a little bit on that.
Yeah, he's 55. Yeah.
That's funny. I guessed it exactly. Uh,
Yeah, he's 55. And it says here he's like 6 feet even, but he's probably like 5'10".
right. So he's 4 inches shorter than me. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of nerfed myself in that conversation because I'd rather be humble than somebody who just thinks they can beat everybody up, which is not true.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
but
interesting, man,
yeah,
with aging, because that's the thing. Because like not only do you lose like endurance and flexibility and just agility and ability, but you also lose reflex time. Like that's like the I feel like that's like the number one. I feel like that's like the first thing to go. You just get slower.
yeah,
Like your reaction time gets slower. Like that's what I've been seeing happen to Djokovic, because Djokovic is also now in the twilight of his career. Because Djokovic benefited from being the youngest guy. He's like a year and a half younger than Rafa, like 4 or 5 years younger than Federer. So he benefited from being the youngest out of the three guys, which in certain circles there's a conversation about stat padding and benefiting from weak fields when your rivals are not around, that kind of conversation. Which then throws into question, like, is he really the best guy in the world ever? Maybe it is Rafa. Who knows? But that aside, you know, he is in the twilight years of his career. And that has been the number one thing with him, where it's like, he still has a lot of the same kind of agility, but his endurance has decreased. And the number one noticeable thing is just his reaction time. And yeah, dude, that's it. Your reaction time gets slower, and then all of a sudden you're getting punched 3 times before you know what happened to you.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to go over there was something another WWE point that I've been wanting to make since we last spoke about WWE. So if you don't like WWE at all, man, this is not the episode for you.
Because we
Uh,
we love WWE in this podcast.
yeah, yeah. I was thinking more about why I love guys like Brock Lesnar and
Mhm.
Undertaker. And here's what I'm getting at, and it kind of has to do with I think why people hated John Cena. Um, there is what I think. I've thought this for a little while now. There's a pro wrestling heel problem. There's a storytelling problem when it comes to pro wrestling heels, and it's this: in pro wrestling, the heels, the villains, are portrayed as guys who cheat to win. And not only that,
Yeah.
but they have to cheat to win in order to win.
They're just willing to do anything to get that account.
Yeah. The problem with that is that it makes the villains the underdog. And
Yeah, it does make the villain the underdog.
I've always had that problem with pro wrestling. I could never quite put my finger on it when I was a kid growing up. But
Mhm.
I would often find myself rooting for the heels. And it was because you've created a problem for yourself there.
Yeah, it's
You're
100%.
making the
Like the
heels the
babyface is like
underdog.
pummeling this guy. Like if they're fighting on even terms with nobody being able to do anything, the babyface is gonna win. He's the better wrestler guy in this instance.
Right. Yeah, so like
Yeah.
it took away the suspense because what you generally do in storytelling, you pretty much always want your villain to either have as much power, quote unquote, and I don't just mean superpowers. Not all stories have that, but you want your villain to be as threatening as the hero, preferably more threatening, and preferably a
Right.
lot more threatening, like in
Yes.
Homelander and the Boys. Like he's immortal. It's like it's taken 5 seasons for them to even just figure out how to beat, how to come close to beating him. Um,
Mhm.
and it's because we naturally that's the way stories work, and the way the audience works generally is you side with the underdog. You side you the underdog gets your sympathy and your empathy. And so the
Right.
issue with that is when you would have these matches where it's like, oh, Miz versus John Cena, it's like there's no suspense. It's like I know Miz can't beat John Cena
Yeah.
clean. He either
He's
he. So I remember sort of finding myself rooting for the heel, like, oh, can they figure out a way to overcome the odds? Can they figure out
yeah.
a dirty way to beat them? It's almost like when you're watching a horror movie, Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't fight Michael Myers on even ground. She doesn't fight him in a fair fight. You're like, get a fucking coat hanger, shove it in his eye, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what
Yeah.
you're. And I would find myself doing that with the heels. And so the reason I loved guys like Brock Lesnar and Undertaker is they dispensed with that. They were proper heels. Even though the Undertaker was a face in his later days when I was watching, he kind of functioned still as a heel in a way
For sure.
where
Yeah.
he was still like he was this juggernaut where it just sort of worked, right? And I think Brock Lesnar is the best example for this though, because Brock Lesnar is almost a career heel. Like he's been a heel for it seems like 80% of his career, maybe more. I mean,
Yeah.
he is most often a heel, and he's what's known as a monster heel, right? There's actual
Mm.
terminology for like types of wrestling heels, and they all fall into like some category. Like Randy Orton was a crazy heel. Um, Dolph Ziggler, Wade Barrett, Drew McIntyre, these were quote unquote young heels, where it's like, Randy Orton was a young heel, where it was like, I'm God's gift to earth, I'm Prince Charming, I'm better than you kind of thing. And
Mhm.
Brock Lesnar was a monster heel, and he was like Thanos, where it was like, oh my God, beating him is going to be hard. Like, that's going to be
Right.
really fucking hard. And it made the storytelling actually make sense. And I think that's why I loved Brock Lesnar so much. Is because he made the storytelling make sense and made you actually root for who you were supposed to root for. Because when you have these matches where like Randy Orton goes up against Super Cena, or even like Randy Orton versus Shawn Michaels, and Randy Orton has to hit Shawn Michaels in the nuts or slap a referee and get disqualified to
Yeah.
retain the championship. It's like, I mean, who am I supposed to root for here?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's why I love Brock Lesnar, because he
Yeah.
said it. he set things right in my mind in
Yeah,
that regard.
I feel you. I feel you on that. I feel you on that because I agree with you. Not only do I feel you, I agree with you. Um, I think my point from I think last week or whenever we talked about this was it last week? I think
A
probably
couple weeks
before
ago.
that. Yeah, was like my gripe with Lesnar oftentimes was that you needed other guys to make him interesting for me. That
Hmm.
he was like you like I need context around him to make him like really interesting. Because
Yeah.
otherwise I just kind of found him to be kind of like a brute. And that was like not that interesting. But I do agree with you that somehow they kind of fucked they messed that up. Like they messed up like how that was supposed to work. And they did make oftentimes they made the heels be like an underdog in the matches, and then you're like, what am I really rooting for here? You know,
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
guys are having a tough time.
Exactly. Well, I think probably the best example of that is in 2011 when Randy Orton had that rivalry with Christian. Randy Orton was the
Mhm.
face and Christian was the heel. And Christian kept on getting one more match. That was like the mantra, one more match.
Yeah, but at that point you're
And
rooting for the guy, especially with
exactly.
that.
I was
Yeah,
rooting for him, even though he was the heel.
yeah.
I was like, dude, he's working really hard to
Really
beat
hard. Yeah,
Randy, and he can't do it. And it's like,
yeah.
but Christian's the hero, dude. I mean, but I think that I doubt that's a WWE problem. That seems to be probably a pro wrestling problem as a whole. Because
Mhm.
I think long ago when they developed these storytelling techniques for the medium of pro wrestling, they probably were like, well, it'd be logical to assume that the bad guys would cheat to win. But I think they took
Right,
that too far, where it's like every bad guy was nerfed, and so he had no choice but to cheat to win.
right.
And I think that's a problem. That's a mistake. But I've droned on about that. But that I think that's the big reason why I loved Brock Lesnar. And then the other, yeah, in addition to like, I think Brock Lesnar is weirdly a great actor. It's weird because he doesn't have like any. He even had
Background.
no, he has no background, but he's a weirdly good actor. Like of course, he only has one style, and I'm sure you don't,
Yeah.
you can't. He's no Oscar winner, but he has one character that he's always played. But he's weirdly good. Like
The last name.
he's very believable when he's in there. Like I remember there was this time where he attacked Shawn Michaels, and basically like Paul Heyman blocked Shawn Michaels from getting out of a parking garage. And then Brock
Mhm.
Lesnar runs over to the driver window and yanks Shawn Michaels out of the car. And earlier in the night, he told Shawn, like, I'm going to get you. And then
Yeah.
later, when he runs up to the driver side door, he goes, I told you I was going to get you. And he fucking like yanks him out. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's terrifying. Like, Brock Lesnar, weirdly good actor, like, weirdly, strangely good. And then there's also a
Yeah.
level of violence that Brock Lesnar brings to WWE where he really but he's still a professional. Like guys who have worked with him, they're like, yeah, it's tough, it's challenging, he really throws you around, but he's also safe at the same time. Like otherwise people wouldn't want to work with him and that he wouldn't have gotten as far as he has. And he there's a level of violence that he brings. And if anyone listening to this is curious about it, like go look up Brock Lesnar attacks Seth Rollins backstage and type in ambulance as the keyword, because there was like a scene on Raw where he puts Seth Rollins, he pummels him to the point that they have to put him in an ambulance. And then Brock stops the ambulance, yanks Seth Rollins out, beats him up some more, takes him off the stretcher, and like F5s him onto the stretcher. And the
Mhm.
whole thing is like, holy shit, dude. Like it's fucking violent and scary,
Yeah.
and I love it, and that's why I love Brock Lesnar. Yeah,
Oh, dude.
and
Checks out.
his voice cracks are great too. But
His voice cracks are great. They are iconic.
yeah, it's so funny because like Roman Reigns has this great yell where he's just like, "Wah!" And then Brock Lesnar, whenever he yells, he's just like, "I will see you on Sunday."
Yeah. Oh,
um,
God.
Well, real quick, man, before we do our recaps, there was a little segment I wanted to do for the show. I found a Reddit thread where people are talking about movie hot takes, and
Okay,
I thought we'd go through a few. What do you say, sir?
let's do it.
All right. Uh, let me find a good one here.
Movie hot takes, huh?
Yeah, I'm trying to find like. Let me see. Oh, here's one. Man of Steel is one of the best superhero movies of the 2000s/2010s. Nah.
No, that's a cold take.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sucks. He said no,
no,
it
that
is
movie
not.
sucks.
He said no, it is not the same level as The Dark Knight, Winter Soldier, Spider-Man 2, etc., but it's still a great introduction with incredible visuals and music to a new take on the character. Nah.
No, I mean, I guess it is a hot take, but it's like a very, it's a dookie take. Like it's like, no, man, you're wrong.
Well, it's a hot take we disagree with. Yeah.
Yeah, we
It is a
disagree with
hot
that.
take.
Yeah, it's a hot take. Like that's a flaming hot. That's a flaming hot take.
Yeah.
But no, it's no,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, the movie it's not very good.
The OP actually said, I dislike the entire Evil Dead trilogy. Its camp is not for me, and I'm just not a Sam Raimi fan. Um, totally disagree. I love the Evil. We've talked about ad nauseum on during the Halloween.
Yeah, the guy has a lot of hot takes, dude.
Yeah, we talked about the Halloween episode. Well, this is a whole thread, so like these are commenters too. But
Oh, I see.
we talked about how great. If you guys go listen to, I think it was the Kronos episode, the last Halloween episode we did.
We did like a top. We did a top horror movies. We not a top horror movies. We did like an elimination horror movie game.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And we determined that Evil Dead bleeds orange for Halloween because it's so like pure great
Hmm.
horror, but it's so like I think great horror kind of ironically I love the Shining movie, but and Stephen King when he was talking about why he didn't like the Shining movie, he said you know, the book is warm and invites you in, but the Shining movie was cold. And while I disagree with him on
Hmm.
the finer point, I agree with him in theory about what great horror is. Because I think great horror, and I think the reason like I hate movies like Saw or like torture porn stuff is because great horror, no matter how like horrific it might be at times or even outright gory, like the Evil Dead movies are disgusting at times, there is a level of like invitation, and like great horror is almost, it's weirdly like the devil in that way, where the devil is like this angel of light and he draws you in and then he's like, yeah, I fucking got you, you're in hell kind of thing. Horror is
Hmm.
kind of like that, where great horror, where it invites you in, and then you're locked in on the roller coaster. And I think Evil Dead does that really well, where they're like just
Hmm.
yeah, they're gory, horrific moments in there, but then there's like, it's charming. It's a cabin in the woods. There's an
Yeah.
evil tree that
Very
moves
nice.
around. There's a stop motion headless lady that dances. Like it's
Mm.
fun.
Yes.
So and then he also said, I also think Edgar Wright is outrageously overhyped. Yes, I agree
No,
with
I agree
that.
with that. I agree with that. Yeah.
I
Especially because he's been on like on a streak of like stinkers. Like, because I think the last hype thing that he made was like Baby Driver, but that was like in 2018.
Yeah.
And now, like he's made like I think two movies since then, and they've both just been like stinkers. And now he's like going back to making like movies with like Simon Pegg, like the guy that he made that movie with.
Hot Fuzz.
That's, yeah, exactly. So it's like I don't know, man. I think the guy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make about that. I don't know what to make about Edgar Wright.
Yeah, I actually, funny enough, I saw his most recent one, The Running Man, which is a Stephen King adaptation. I thought it was
Hmm.
pretty good. I actually liked it.
Really,
Um,
I've heard a lot of mixed things, like mostly like negative on that movie.
yeah, I'm in the minority. I really liked it. And here's the thing, though, it's less Edgar Wright-y. Like it's not,
Mm.
because that I can't stand like Baby Driver is okay, but it's kind of obnoxious. His movies are obnoxious. Scott Pilgrim
Yeah,
versus the World, obnoxious
obnoxious for
movie.
sure.
Hot
Yeah.
Fuzz, obnoxious.
Yeah, I agree with you because like like I do like some of his movies. But I do agree with you that like especially like those movies like Hot Fuzz, like I remember we watched Hot Fuzz and I was just kind of like like
Yeah.
like Shaun of the Dead is also like not that great and
Yeah,
like
Shaun of the Dead sucks, dude. I can't stand Shaun of
and
the
I,
Dead.
I and I haven't seen The World's End, but I also don't think I'm gonna like that very much. So it's like there's something about his movies that are just like very like I think obnoxious is a good word. Like it's just very like and they kind of insist upon themselves with like
Yeah.
the manic like editing and like yeah,
Manic. Yeah. Yeah, they're manic. That the
yeah,
and Running Man was like him but toned down. It's like someone put an IV drip that had like, you know, magnesium in it or cough syrup or something to like calm him down when he made
yeah,
that movie because it's like it has his style still where there's like, those colorful visuals that pop, and which is good because it's a neon cyberpunk city kind of thing. And there's some snappy editing, but not really, and it's just very toned down. And I liked The Running Man. I think I gave it like a 6 or a 7. It wasn't
mm.
fantastic, and I had some problems with it, but overall, I thought it was really well done. I think
Yeah. You give it a 6, and
yeah,
it's like sitting at like a 6 across everything. It's on a 3 on
yeah,
Letterboxd. It has a 60% Rotten Tomatoes and like a 6.4 in IMDb. So the general consensus is that it's kind of like a 6.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
liked it. I thought it was very entertaining. There were I gave it a 6 because there were some aspects of it that I thought were like small strokes of genius and just super engaging moments. It's a
Mhm.
really engaging story overall that Stephen King came up with. It's just, it's a guy who like can't provide for his family, gambles at all, and decides to go on like a deadly game show where you become a wanted fugitive. Like that's just a really good plot. So
Yeah, it's interesting.
yeah. Um, let me find another one here. Because I looked at this a couple weeks ago, but so I don't have them all kind of lined up. But someone
Mhm.
said all superhero movies are for children, and all adults who stand them
Uh,
are cringe.
that is a hot take. I
I agree with the second half.
slightly slightly agree. That's what I'm saying. Like I slightly agree. I don't think if you stand like superhero movies, that is kind of I slightly agree. I'll give it that. I slightly agree with that hot take.
Yeah, I agree with the second half. I don't think all
Yeah.
superhero movies are for children, but I do think
No.
adults who are obsessed with them and our stands for them are a little. It's a little weird.
Yeah, it's
Um,
weird.
Someone someone just said I couldn't follow the Irishman. Is that a hot take? It's just kind of like a isn't that
This
more of
seems
a
like a comment.
isn't that more of a personal failing?
Yeah, this sounds like a statement. Like I couldn't follow the Irons. It's like, oh, okay.
I can understand that. I mean, the whole movie is just dudes being like, "Listen, Johnny told me to tell Tommy,
Yeah,
to tell
the whole
Antonio,
movie.
to tell
Yeah,
to tell Joey, to tell Finchy, to tell you.
yeah,
It's what
and
it
it's 5
is."
hours. Yeah.
Yeah, and if Tony doesn't tell Robbie that Jimmy is out, he's whack. And you're just like, I'm sorry, what?
Okay. But look, if you manage to squeeze your brain enough for 5 hours, you'll follow it. It's not that complex. As long as you know everyone's names, you're good. Write them down on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Oh,
All,
Tonio is De Niro and Timmy is that guy. It's like, okay, I get it.
yeah. I mean, the point of the movie is that Hoffa was too arrogant and flew too close to the sun.
Right.
I mean, that's like the whole thing. As long as you understand that, that's basic. And
Yeah,
that
then
the
you're okay.
Irishman didn't want to have to do exactly what he did. Um,
Yeah.
Someone said Blade Runner is so fucking boring.
No,
I understand it. To some extent, I agree. I don't think
I
Blade
don't know.
Runner
I
is
think
as good as people think it is. Like
I don't know.
I
I
think
actually like
RoboCop
completely
is
disagree.
better.
I completely disagree, and I completely disagree with you.
Yeah.
I disagree with you, and I disagree with the guy who had the hot take. If you would really think that about that movie, watch it again. And if you come back and you say the same thing, watch it again. And if you come back and you say the same thing again, then watch it again until the opinion changes. Keep watching it.
Hey, we're on kind of a delay. Let me pop out and pop back in real quick.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree. But yeah, like, dude, like if you have an issue with like movies like Blade Runner, then that the problems with you, not with the movie. That's my defense. That's like my very aggressive defense. But also, I also have to say something else to reinvigorate that point, and it is that not everything is made for everybody. Like
Right.
sometimes there are movies and they're made for certain folks, and those folks enjoy them. And sometimes you might watch a movie and you might be like, "This sucks," and it's like, "Man, it just wasn't for. It's just not for you, man." Like that's it. You know. Like sometimes shit. Like, cause I feel like sometimes people like miss that. Like sometimes shit's just not for you. It doesn't mean that that thing's like bad. It's just like it's just not for you, man.
Sure. Sure, but isn't that what he's
that's my
saying?
take.
Like he's saying he thinks it's fucking boring, right?
Yeah.
Just speaking his opinion strongly. But
And I
yeah.
think he's wrong, dude.
Yeah.
I think
You
that
think his
I think for
opinion's
one,
wrong?
I think his opinion's wrong.
Yeah.
And that the only way he can get himself out of that wrong opinion is by admitting the movie's good. It's just not for me.
I
That's my.
see. So he has to have the
That's where
right.
I'm coming.
He has to have the right wrong opinion. I get
Yes,
it.
he has to have the right wrong opinion. He has to have the opinion that
Ah,
the movie's good, but that it's just not for him.
okay, I get it.
I'm fucking with you, dude. I'm
Yeah,
fucking with
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah,
You
we
can say
couldn't
whatever you
tell
want
you
about
were
me.
joking. He did say the book is way way better, so he does like the story, I guess. Um, so Blade Runner, I don't think it's quote unquote so fucking boring. Um, but I can understand how it can come across. It is a little boring, I think, at times. I think it doesn't. There's not quite enough meat on the bone in that movie. Like, because I've seen that movie a couple times. I've seen it multiple times, and
Watch it again, dude.
each time I watch it, I'm just kind of like, it seems sparse. It seems slight. It's like it just
Yeah.
doesn't feel like, as far as cyberpunk goes, I'm more of a RoboCop guy, or even Total Recall. I know there's a little
Mhm.
campier and not, but I think there's still RoboCop especially is a phenomenal film, I think, and its themes are just as complex as Blade Runner's.
Yeah.
Blade Runner is just more going for more of a serious tone. Um, but yeah, I do think Blade Runner. I would classify Blade Runner as overrated. I think its
I disagree.
aesthetic did a lot for
I disagree with you,
the
dude.
science fiction genre,
Yeah.
but and the just the iconic imagery, and it helped kickstart the
Cyberpunk.
cyberpunk subgenre. Um, which, funny enough, Stephen King kind of kickstarted the cyberpunk genre, helped to as well with The Running Man, which is interesting to think about. Shout out Stephen.
Stephen
Um,
King.
but anyway, I digress.
My point here. Look, I'm gonna put a pin on this. I'm
Yeah,
gonna write this down because we've come through this circle before. Like we've come through this like Ridley Scott
oh, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. That's right.
bridge,
Yeah.
and we've had this kind of like we've had this exact same like push and pull. I disagree with you completely, and I disagree with the guy's comment. I think the guy's an idiot. Scratch that. The only part that I actually disagree with is with you. I think you're wrong, about your take on Blade Runner. And you've been here before with me, man. I remember we watched like Ghost in the Shell, and you said something similar. And I've
Mm.
had that in my head. It's like Jake doesn't get Ghost in the Shell,
Yeah, Ghost in the
and the Ghost.
Shell is boring, dude.
No, you said
It's
it's
all
you're saying it again.
exposition.
You're saying it again. You're saying it again. Look, man, we have to get off the show, dog.
To end the show.
End the show.
I
End
know.
the show.
I'm sending you into a rage, dude.
Yeah, I'll put this down in my notes. We're gonna revisit this,
Yeah, we should
but not
revisit.
really. We're not gonna revisit this.
We
I
can't revisit
disagree.
Ghost in the Shell. I have like no memory of anything that happens in that movie. Anyway.
I know you don't. It's one of those things where Ghost in the Shell is like Ghost in the Shell has like it's kind of married in a way, in a weird way to Blade Runner. It's like it's in
Yeah.
a very similar sphere. It's inspired by Blade Runner.
Oh yeah.
Mamoru Oshii. Again, I just think those movies are very specific, and I think you just have to approach those movies in a specific way.
Hmm.
And that's my way of saying that you're an idiot.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that and that guy who commented is also an idiot. I disagree with everybody, and I'm quitting the show.
Everybody's an
And
idiot but me.
Jack better replace me, because everybody's an idiot except for me. My opinions are right. They're the right opinions to have. If you don't have my opinions, then unsubscribe from the show. You have to just, I have to be your guiding light in opinions.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this is not going to work. This relationship's going to fail, dude.
Yeah, they're both beautiful movies. I'll end
movies.
it with that. They're both beautiful.
Yeah. For anybody who doesn't get my humor and sarcasm, I'm playing around. I'm playing around. So
Yeah.
nobody take me very seriously, please. And sorry to the fella who commented that I called an idiot. Also, I'm just joking. Keep it in the show. I do want to call that guy an idiot on record.
Yeah.
But for that fella, I apologize.
For that fella. Someone said, I can't wait for Avatar 2. That's so funny. That's a good hot take. This was a few years ago. Friday the 13th is the worst popular horror movie series. I don't know if that's a hot take. I mean, it is. Those are. I mean, I think the hotter take is one I've made, which is that the first Friday the 13th movie is genuinely bad.
Yeah.
I think
I agree with you on that.
I think a lot of the sequels are fun and pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially the second one.
All right, I'll do one last one here. Peter Griffin here says, I don't like The Godfather 1 and 2. I did not care for The Godfather.
It insists upon itself.
It insists upon itself. It's because it has a point. It's insistent.
Yeah, I disagree with that, and I disagree with Peter. I think The Godfather is great.
Yeah, somewhat
long.
They said
kind of boring. But
sorry, yeah. So the person says, I didn't mean to cut you off there. They said haven't watched the third one. Well, I haven't either. I think you're probably good there. I don't think anyone likes the third one anyway.
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah. In my mind, these are the most overrated movies of all time. I thought the first movie was boring, confusing, but simple. Father dies, son take over, it becomes bad. Wait, how can you say it's confusing if you just summed it up?
Yeah, you can't say confusing and simple in the same sentence, dog. And the funny thing is that a lot of the time with these things, it's like you can like brush over anything by saying like, oh, father died, dog, son inherits. Like, dog, man, stuff happens in between that. Not just that. But even if the movie was just that, there is a huge amount of complexity in how that happens.
Yes.
Why that happens and how it's presented. There's a huge amount of complexity in how and how Marlon Brando portrays that character and how Pacino portrays that character. Those are some of the best actors that we've ever seen in the history of the medium. But it's like, man, get off, man. I can't listen to takes from simpletons. That's really the problem, dude. I can't, because people watch movies and they watch movies as if they're watching Family Guy. It's not Family Guy, dog. Like this is an art medium.
Simpletons.
Jake, you gotta get me off this show. I am getting a headache. It's getting to my debate time. You have to get me off.
Yeah. What do I look?
They are actually they are actually hot takes because they're like boiling my brain, dude.
Yeah. I can understand calling them boring. I mean, they're slow. They're not. I mean, I don't know. They do drag a little bit. They're great movies. Don't get me wrong, but anyway, we'll leave it at that. I won't open that can of worms. I guess I'm being empathetic here, but yeah, I am sympathetic to that take about the Godfather movies because they're not like my favorites. I don't love them in the same way that I do like Shawshank.
That's the funny thing, though, that I agree with you. I agree with you with that guy. Like, I do like think the movies are maybe kind of overhyped in that sense.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that actually does agree, but I just I just have an issue sometimes with how people talk about movies because it's like, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah, yeah.
But that's it. But I actually do agree with the general sentiment of the comment.
Yeah. Well, the whole confusing thing is confusing to me because they're like, it's confusing but simple. And then they're like, father dies, son takes over, and becomes bad. And it's like, you're summing the movie up in a few words, but you're trying to say it's confusing.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Anyway, do you want to do a recap or do you just want to unboil your brain, cool your brain off and get out of here?
No, I'll humor you. If you want to recap, I don't have anything. I haven't seen anything.
Okay.
I've just been having B&B in a car registration
Oh,
woes, but as it goes. But I haven't seen anything. But if you want to go ahead and do your recap, and then we can wrap it up.
all right. Yeah. Um, Yeah, so I watched I'll be quick here. I watched a couple movies, um, as it goes, or actually, no, just one. I rewatched Bullet Train the other night.
But yeah, I
Um,
remember you. I remember you talked about that movie because you liked that movie.
yeah, I didn't love it. I liked it. I think I gave it a 6 out of 10. I actually bumped it up to a 7 because I went
Oh,
this time. Basically, I watched it the other night with my sisters and our cousin. We had a little like video call and then a remote movie viewing that we sometimes do every few months. And we picked that one, and I went in with really low expectations. Like I remember just being like, this movie's just whatever. It's kind of like Deadpool. I think it's the director of the first Deadpool movie, maybe. Um, and the guy may have had something to do with John Wick too. I don't remember, but um, and I was like, yeah, this will be fine. And then but it was one of those things where you go in and I'm like, oh, this is actually better. It got better on a second viewing. Like I actually appreciated it a lot more on the second viewing. It's a really fun action movie. They take the whole like mystery on a train thing and put it in an action skin, you know. Um, and
he
there's a
directed Deadpool 2. Just to add that.
okay, got it. Thank you. I was wondering about that. But yeah, and it's original, which nowadays sometimes you don't get these like bigger budget action original things with someone
Yeah,
like Brad Pitt in it, and it was cool. Like
yeah.
it's a cool fun movie. And they do this whole like they're on a train the whole movie, and there's this one character who keeps bringing up Thomas the Tank Engine, and he's like, I learned everything I know about people from watching Thomas the Tank Engine. And he like has this
Mhm.
little like all these little Thomas stickers, and he's like, and that person over there, that's a diesel. That person's a diesel.
That's
There's
funny.
bad news. Like it's great. It's a fun movie. And
I
and
had
I
it on my watch list for a while. Because when you talked about it before, I think on the show you liked it, so I was like, I want to see what's going on here. So now that you like it more the second time, I'm interested.
yeah, I was surprised it got better on a second viewing, which it's always satisfying when a movie does that. When it gets better on a rewatch, it's very much like it's kind of like the movie Crank. It's similar to that where
Hmm.
you're just like, it may not be as inspired as Crank as I found Crank to be when we first watched it. I found Crank just to be very inspired, but
Yeah.
it's like a Jason Statham thing where you go in and you just for a fun. If you're ever in a Jason Statham mood, consider Bullet Train. Um,
Okay.
but
It scratches the same itch. Is what I'm
absolutely
getting.
scratches the same
Okay.
itch for sure. With more interesting visuals and direction and fight choreography than your average Jason Statham movie
Statham
as
movie.
well. So there's a
Yeah.
little bit of a yeah added there. And then last night my dad and I watched the again remotely. I'm doing a lot of FaceTime viewings with people these days. A lot of counting down and pressing play because share play
Yeah.
doesn't fucking work ever or and all these streaming services got rid of their watch parties. But
That's terrible.
I know, it's stupid. But my dad and we watched the 2 episode premiere of The Boys, the new season of The
Mm.
Boys. It's fucking awesome, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's been incredible.
Back
Um,
to top shape now.
yeah. Apparently this season's critically acclaimed too. Like the critics were allowed to watch every episode except for the finale, and it's
Mm.
sitting at a
They loved
97.
it.
Yeah, it's sitting at a 97 critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and I think similar for audiences so far for the first couple episodes. And I could see why. It was amazing. It feels like it's back. Season 4 was shaky, and I even
Mm.
said, I was a naysayer. I was like, I don't see them really coming back. It's probably just going to be like shitty final season, but they really rebounded. They even took some plot lines from season 4 and spun them in a new way, because they had, obviously you need continuity, but they kind of took shit and turned it into sugar, kind of, you know what I mean,
Mm.
in a way, with some of the crap in season 4 that wasn't really working. um and they brought some stuff that was in season 3 that was severely missing in season 4. They've brought it back in season 5, and it just make season 4 it's just weird, of that show. Like that show, season 4 is going to go down as the black sheep 100% of that show. That's not even a controversial statement among the Boys fans. It's this weird epilogue to season 3 and prologue to season 5, where it just doesn't feel like we get anywhere in season 4, like anywhere. It just
Mm.
the season 4 was the definition of treading water. But this new season was incredible so far, anyway. Had me pumping my fists, shouting in despair, jaw dropping holy shit moments. Um, and I really appreciated, there were a couple moments, a couple scenes, and a couple events in the first couple episodes that really felt like the writers explicitly telling the audience, hey, we get it. We're done treading water. Like, we're not fucking around anymore. Like there's something that happens in the first episode that has been a ticking time bomb since the first season, and it just
And they
happens.
honored it.
It just
Yeah.
happens in the first scene of the first episode, and you're like, holy shit. I was like in disbelief, because it's been this like weird Chekhov's gun since season 1. And I was like, oh my god, I can't believe they just fucking did that. If you watch the episode, you know what I'm talking about. The first scene. Um, so I am so excited for the weeks to come and what comes out of that show. It was awesome. It's been
All right,
awesome
dude.
so far. And then I also started a show on Amazon Prime per the Critical Drinkers recommendation, called Mr. Inbetween. It's an Australian crime thriller show about the main character is a loan shark who he's like a loan shark and like enforcer kind of guy, crime enforcer, mob enforcer, and he's just juggling his personal life. He's got a girlfriend, a daughter, and his professional life. Yeah, it's really good so far. 30-minute episodes. It's an
I
Australian,
bet.
yeah, it's an Australian show, so it's like, you know,
It's funny. They have accents.
yeah, they have accents, and it's actors.
Australian accents.
Most of the actors are people you've never seen before. There is one actor in it that I recognize from something, um, but yeah, it's good so far. Thank you. Shout out Critical Drinker for the recommendation. And then listening wise, I started listening to Pompeii and Utility by Earl Sweatshirt and
Yeah,
Mike.
like hour and a half long thing.
Dude, I had to stop. I couldn't listen to that
Mm.
shit. That was really bad. They're like trappy beats too, a lot of them, and then they're doing the whole like like trap flow, and
Yeah.
I'm like, and it's in that weird lazy drawl that they both do.
That I'm so over that, dude, and I'm glad because I saw like Fantano gave it like a mid review,
Yes.
and somebody like posted online. They were like, "Why did he give it a mid review?" and he replied to it, and he was like, "This is the equivalent of musical ambience." Like,
Yes.
it's like it's just boring.
Yes. I was happy. Because when I looked it up, I wanted to see what other people's reactions were to it. And I really expected Fantano to just be like, "This is really great, blah blah." And I think it's just one of those things. Like, people are biased, man. It's like if Earl
Yeah,
Sweatshirt comes out with something and it kind of sucks, people will just kind of say it's good. I think because it's just like, well, Earl
yes,
Sweatshirt, he's one of the goats, And it's like, no, if it sucks, it sucks. Like, let's be
it
honest
sucks.
about it.
Yeah,
If I know it's hard to be disappointed by a release, but like, let's call a spade a spade, and
mhm.
yeah, it's just like whatever. Earl's been treading water for a little while now. I think I'm kind of sick of it. I don't get excited about his releases anymore, honestly.
Yeah,
Like, his thing with
yeah.
The Alchemist was a big disappointment for me. I was just like, this is like,
Void Dyer.
yeah, I was just like, this is I'm just not feeling. Again, it felt like ambiance, where it was just like it felt really bland. Um, like, I would take Fetty by Currency, Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist, that project, over Viodor uh, any day. Um, then I listened to Juicy J's new album, The Trippy Tapes, Volume 1. Um, this, I have mixed feelings about it. It's weird because it's like a 30-track album, but only an hour long. So like each song is a minute and a half to 2.5 minutes. And
Mhm.
it's very much, it's just kind of it's mostly produced by Lex Luger, which I liked because I am so sick of just the Metro Boomin copycat beats, and I have been sick of them for almost 10 years now in trap music. And what I like about Juicy J is he continues to work with harder hitting producers from that like late 2000s, early 2010s Atlanta era, like TM88 and Lex Luger. Um, and their beats just sound, they have, they sound better. They sound, they're more exciting to me. But what I will say is, while there are a lot of bangers on this album, if you've heard one song, you've basically heard all of them. Like, it very much is just a collection of songs. It doesn't really feel like much of an album. And I will say, despite what I said about my positives about the production, um, I gotta say, like, the beats also don't seem to have. They also feel very samey after a while. Um, like, they just don't seem to have much of an identity. Versus like one of my favorite probably my favorite, or I'll say one of my favorites trap albums of all time is T God Mafia, Juicy J, Wiz Khalifa, and TM88. And each beat, if I hear the beat, I know immediately which song it is. And yes, I've listened to that album ad nauseum for the past like 10 years now, but each beat has an identity. Each beat is very clearly, with its synths and stuff, it has like its own vibe, its own language. And this album just, yeah, it just kind of feels like it was made in a week or something. So, whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and that's it. I'm excited. I'm excited about Blade Brown and Betty the Butcher are dropping a single tonight, and then Derringer and Conway the Machine are dropping an album at midnight. So
These are always like backing something out, man. Gee,
yeah, dude, they're just, yeah, they
it's hard
stay
to
in the
keep up.
studio. I know, man. yeah,
It is. It's hard to keep up with those guys.
I feel like even with my notifications on for their releases, because I have certain artists that have the notifications turned on for when they release something. Like, even with
Mhm.
those, I'm just like, I'll wake up and I'll be like, fucking something else like dropped, man. Yeah, it's
I guess for
crazy.
me, because I'm thinking like, oh man, I'm behind on those guys. But at the end of the day, like I was at the B's and at the C's like years ago. So I guess I
yeah,
am like a few years behind on these
yeah,
guys.
yeah, man.
Oh god.
Well, what you got for us next week, dude?
It'll be a surprise. I haven't figured it out. I usually have a list of like movies that I want us to watch, and I was like looking through the list, and I was like, I don't feel any of these movies. So I'll see what I'm feeling for us for next week, and then I'll let you know. Probably by the end of tomorrow, most likely. I'll let you know.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you listening. Happy late Easter. And we'll see you next time.
Next time on Film Tangents, everybody. See ya.